Hey, how you doing, everyone? Welcome back to Behind the Sticks. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so I'm sorry if I'm a little bit quieter than usual. As usual, I'm joined by my co-host Sully. How you doing, bro?
Hello, guys. How you doing?
And today we are honoured to have a guest, Flawless Deku, on with us. How you doing, bro?
Hello, guys. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
All good, bro. Pleasure to have you here. And today we're just going to go over a couple of topics. We've got thoughts on the beta. We've got thoughts on what we want for release. We're going to talk a little bit about the salt mine results that happened over this weekend. And then obviously the last one, a little bit infamous. Just going to have a little bit of a discussion about some players potentially abusing the crack more than others. But I guess we'll jump straight into it, right? We had a discussion before the show started. We were talking about it midway. It was more to do with beta thoughts, right? What we're thinking about the game coming out from the beta. So I guess we'll just pick up where we left off. We were talking about characters when we left off. We talked about throw loops specifically, just as I cut us off to ping us in. There was some footage on Twitter recently that showed in one of the newer builds, which Deku actually got to play at the Capcom offices, which we'll talk about later, where there was a small snippet of throw loops in the corner being changed a little bit, pushback in the corner being extended so that loop is potentially not possible anymore, and how that might affect some characters from the beta in terms of balance.
Yeah, so obviously we kind of like agreed. Well, I think for most people who played like the open beta, like we all agreed like throw loops were like one of the strongest things that everyone could deal with it.
Yeah.
But I always understood throw loops as something to keep parries in check and keep like characters like Giles in check. Now I don't know how I feel about do throw loops need to go, or do throws in general just need to be easier to tech? Like, is there a bigger tech window, like something so much like Tekken? Now, obviously, you have had a lot of time with the demo, Flawless. So as well as the beta. So I'm curious to kind of hear what your thoughts are on like, well, throws was one of them. But is there anything else in the beta, or certain tactics or certain ways that drive gauge was being used? Did you notice anything that was like pretty like very much strong that people may have missed out?
Yeah. First, I guess go on throw loops. I think throw loops are strong. I'm not gonna lie. With certain characters, it's mad cheap, man. Kimberly, I'm sure you know.
Yes.
It's definitely one of them. Because you got so much to worry about, and then it's like, you know, also. But then I think you're right. It is because of parry that changes things, obviously. So it's like, you know, if they press a button, parry wins. You get perfect parry. You can throw them in the corner, and it's your turn.
Mm-hmm.
Do the same thing potentially. I don't know, you know. And then if they throw, you could maybe backdash, and then you get punished, and then you could do the same thing, reverse the tables. I just think it's a bit, I don't know, not the most fun to watch, is it? Like, if you're like someone in the corner getting thrown over and over again, it's like, oh my god, that was a sick read. It's not really.
Just flipping the coin.
Have that reaction,
Do you know what I think would be sick? A good way to like normalize it is that you'd only get like Oki if it was like a punish counter throw. But if it was like a regular throw, you got pushed back.
Okay,
like, reset.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
The tech window I heard in this game is much bigger than 5, for example.
It is
bigger.
much bigger.
Yeah, it feels bigger, and also you do have the pushback from when you take a throw, which wasn't in previous games, which you can kind of understand now, because it's like, you know, it's a big thing, big risk to take a throw. If you do manage, I think you should be rewarded. So I mean, I like that change. But then, yeah, it's just like I said, it's a bit boring to watch. Do they need to be removed? I don't know. I think it's worth trying it and see. Like, you don't really know how it pan out fully yet.
I think they'll need to be tweaked, because I think shimmies in this game hurt, bro.
They do, yeah.
If like, God forbid a Ryu shimmies you and he's got like
more than three bars.
More than 3 bars left, it's like, okay, you're just looking at your health bar, you're like, okay, that's 50%. We move. Like, yeah, you just have to make peace with it, like that being gone. But nah, I think it needs to be. Like, I feel like both throws and shimmies can't be that crazy strong.
That crazy, yeah.
Yeah, because it really fucks with the mind game.
It makes like have impact like guaranteed as well in the corner, doesn't it? Like, you're worried about so many other things. So, yeah, I don't know. How would you say that they tone it down though? Because it's like it's not really like you can. It's either they're in the game or they're not. That's the way I see it. It's like not really like you can be like, oh, let's make throws do less damage, because it's still you're getting looped. Either you're getting looped or you're not. So
yeah.
We should just move it all together.
It was the system was really weird because through playing, I've slowly noticed. You mentioned the tech window a second ago. I personally feel as though if you're really looking for it, you can react to throws. You can see the throw tech come in, and you can take it on reaction. Similar to Grand Blue Versus, I think the tech window is like 10 frames, 12 frames. It's really big in Street Fighter 6. And there were a lot of times where I was like, "Oh, he's grabbing me. I'm a tech. Let's do it." And I'm not going to get shimmied because of it.
Yeah.
Opens you up to DI and drive rush and a lot of other things when you just focusing on the tech. But you mentioned it earlier. It's not very fun to get throw looped, and I feel like that is the baseline you have to use when thinking about throw loops, especially because it's not fun to watch either. Which I feel like a lot of people who are on the lower end, the casual audience, they aren't going to like that. Like, oh, he won by spamming throws. Yeah. That's going to be the line of logic that they use, and it'll impact your views.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah, I think in terms of tweaking it, I do think like the idea of like making like only punish counter throws put you in position for another throw be a good idea. I think that's a good idea. I think that little mind game Street Fighter 5 had where like you could mash out of the throw. Do you know what I mean? But you had to commit to it.
In Street Fighter 5, I think the throw loop they would beat your button. You know, you couldn't mash out.
Street Fighter 5. That's the old throw loops. But for some throw loops, you had if you woke up and committed to the jab, the guy couldn't get close enough.
It's not actually real, basically, is what you're saying.
It's not real. It felt real because you were delayed jabbing. But if you said this guy's gonna try and throw me, let me just check him real quick.
There is,
and then that was the mind game.
There are a couple of types. There's some throw loops where if you press a jab, you extend your hurt box or you throw a box and you can get thrown out of it. Street Fighter 5 is a weird game with throws. I don't even want to bother talking about Street Fighter 5. That game sucks, bro. I feel like the throws in the corner in 6, right? I feel like if it was a neutral reset, you having your back to the wall after a throw is punishment enough for taking the throw, in my opinion, because of how scary the corner is, particularly because of how much damage you can deal in that game. You can be two-touched so easily because the first touch with drive rush makes it you can guarantee the corner pretty much all the time after one touch mid-screen. It's so easy to do. So I feel like throw loops are a little bit overbearing in a game like this. It reminds me of like Guilty Gear Strive, where it's like one touch, corner, wall break, round's over. That's it. Move on to the next one and start.
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, like start playing for the next round at this point after you've been touched. I'd prefer the neutral reset, so we just have more opportunities to just play the game, right? Make decisions. That's where the fun is, especially in a game like 6, where there's so many mechanics playing with each other at once.
I'm glad you mentioned neutral as well, because like how like for me, right? I think just about every character now at this point has like some sort of built-in neutral bypass in the way of drive rush, but obviously people use it different. Everyone's kind of using it differently at this point. Like Kimberly has like an array of ways to bypass neutral, and it's just that's probably what makes it so good. You don't know if she's just gonna run stop. You don't know if she's gonna like drive rush into you. You don't know if she's gonna do her little explosion. And that's like she's a really hard character to get out. But when you look at other characters like let's say like Juri, she can just throw down her like a little projectile on the floor, and then she's just walking you down, bro. Like at that point you have to suffer that. But stuff I like dislike is like, see, drive rush, it gives characters like Guile. You ever tell me, have you guys been hit with like Guile drive rush bazooka knee yet?
Yes.
Like if it's fast, it feels like a dash punch, and it's like
No, the worst one with him is the Sonic. What's the slow one that he throws when he does the blade?
The blade? Sonic blade. Yeah.
Slow one and then goes behind it.
Yes. Like, if I block this, bro, like you have to perfect parry on the way in, or that's it. You're cooked. You're stuck in the plus frame.
Basically, so it's like, but why is it zoning is so good, but then he can do that, and then he can also drive rush in and overhead you. It's like I spent all this time taking damage, like trying to get in, and then suddenly you overhead me and hit me for 40-50%. It's like I think but I think drive rush is just versatile in general. There's so many uses for it.
Very versatile.
It's I think going back to your question, I think that's probably one of the best mechanics that might be a bit too strong. But I don't necessarily mind because I think it's quite fun to use, and it's like.
I think folks who enjoy like a fast-paced offensive game. I think like I can live with drive rush being strong in it because like I think that's like Like, it throws in a bit of chaos, you know what I mean? You can't have all fighting games be an orderly, like, gentleman's game of fencing, do you know what I mean? You need something to just fuck shit up.
We got Sully here, like, Rushdown player being biased towards Drive Rush, of course.
The Rushdown propaganda.
Modern Warfare 2 was like the best COD in my opinion, but it was like the most like unbalanced and ridiculous.
Exactly.
But it was so fun, you know what I mean? You need the messed up stuff sometimes to make a game fun, but you know.
For me, I enjoyed the Drive Rush. The cost, the more I played it, the more I did start to think about the cost, because one bar. The cost in Street Fighter 6, I don't know if you clocked onto it as well, you probably have, it's just that like costs aren't what they say they are. So, like a Drive Rush cancel is 3 bars, but because you're getting pressure after it, it's more like a 2 bar cost by the time you finish with your better pressure in it, because you're going to get a bar back just for what you're doing afterward. So like something like a 1 bar cost for Drive Rush ends up being like half a bar a lot of the time. It's like, alright, I'm going to get a button off, and then I might get another button into a special.
Yeah.
Alright, I've built time to get half a bar back.
That's true. You gain more as well while you're walking forward, right? And
yes.
So, yeah, I think that's really the most interesting part is the drive gauge. I think.
Yes.
Just like managing that and getting better at like not going into burnout when you don't want to, or like just like being optimal with that. That's going to be really fun. I think. I really like how the system kind of works.
I've got a question specifically for you, because I remember you might have posted back early on during like the demo phase where you mentioned like an offense, or I think it was Big Bird that mentioned that an offense heavy game, for example, putting yourself in burnout at the start of the round to get the corner position was like an optimal way to play. Now, after the beta, do you still think that's the case?
Well, actually, it wasn't my stance originally. My stance originally was that it's best to avoid. I think it was low. It might have been Logan, but I can't remember who it was. Anyway,
I think it was
someone.
Logan.
I think it was Logan. I think it was Logan and Big Bird.
Yeah, maybe Logan and Big Bird, and then I kind of chimed in. But I actually said the opposite, which I think it's better to avoid it really if you can, because unless it's going to kill. I have recently rethought it. I think if it's going to give you a guess for game situation and the corner, and and you have a significant life lead, then I think it can be worth it for sure. Yeah. Because also it means you don't have to work. Like, say if you're like, oh, is this going to kill? Is it not going to kill if I go into? You don't really. If it's going to leave them with a bit anyway, it's not like they're more than likely they're not going to get out of the corner. That's my way I approach it. I'm just going to keep you there. I have to hit you with like 1 or 2 buttons. If you try and jump, you get anti-hit. You know what I mean? Obviously, there's going to be the occasional round where they might somehow get a back throw and then it's over, or they jump over and maybe you lose. But I think in the long run you're probably gonna more than likely win that situation. I don't know. I just think burnout it's a bit rough. A lot of the times I realised in the beta I lost, it was because of burnout. I was putting myself in burnout. I didn't need to, and then now I'm just suddenly on the back foot, and So I guess it's either you learn to fight well in burnout, which could maybe it's just that I was playing a bit more defensive in that, and I wasn't standing my ground as well as I should have, or something like this. Or maybe it's just peak, and I was just getting on, not surviving the onslaught. I don't know, but
I think in a game where it's already quite hard to defend, putting yourself in burnout is like, it feels like a death sentence sometimes. Like
sometimes
you have to, go. And if you're near the corner, you have to be feeling yourself to be able to be like, alright, cool, I'm burnt out, but I mean, like, I need no bell. Let's go. Do you know what I mean? You're not getting comebacks and burnout, innit?
I think it's better though if they're in the corner. It's almost like it negates it, because it's very hard for them to take advantage of it unless they they put you in the corner. Yeah. Because if you've got all that screen behind you, they're not really It's like how are they getting the hit? They're gonna have to take a risk to get in. They're either gonna have to dash up, or they're gonna have to jump, or they're gonna have to whiff on. So it's still like, and if you're pressuring them, it's
it was one of the reasons that Guile felt so powerful, right? A lot of people mention this, is that Guile does not get influenced as much by burnout than other characters, because generally he's controlling a lot of the screen. If he has screen to work with and the boom game to work with, it's really hard to get on him while he's in burnout. It's difficult to push him to the corner.
It's like if he gets put in burnout, we'll just back up and throw booms. Or if he's got low on drive, he's like, okay, let me back up a little bit, throw some booms. Alright, I got some drive. You know what I mean? You don't really.
Exactly.
You can work around it so well, I feel.
A short one, like specifically, like for me, I think like the strong thing about Guile is I think his buttons are ridiculous. I think like Because I feel like on paper Kimberly should destroy Guile. I feel like she should like ruin Guile in that matchup. But I think I think she should. I think she has the tools to fight, like get past booms.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the second the guy goes, all right, I guess I'm just using buttons then. I'm like, oh crap! No, it's like I have to build like a whole like comprehensive game plan to kind of just get past that little boom mind game. But the adaptation on the Guile's end is like, all right, maybe don't throw as many booms. All right, cool, everything's collapsed.
Booms, that means you can walk forward, right? So then
you can walk forward, but that's when the buttons come in. That's when the upside down kick comes in. I suppose anything that's what matchups are like. You know what I mean? You're all trying to adapt to the adaptation and whatnot. I just find it quite difficult to deal with.
I do think that the one thing I guess is buttons can be drive impacted, most of them, which is, I think they thought about, because obviously they're all like, one hits and they're not cancelable, like crouch medium kick, upside down kick, hard kick, all of them can be drive impacted, which is good, but it's like, he forces you to do that, which is, it's the same way he forces you to jump,
Exactly, yeah.
Not a good place you really want to be, forced into like guess.
Exactly. And like throwing out that drive,
I think that's where she probably does better than most. I think Kimberly.
Oh no!
Like if I was a better guy, I would probably pick Kimberly. I think. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I think Kimberly. I feel like if they tone down Guile, I think Kimberly would be really good in that matchup, which is probably because I against most Guiles, I think I was having a good time, but I think I was up against once you get up against like the higher level ones, like your Bricteriums and your ISDDs, and you're like, oh man, this is a bit.
Using Guile last. I think the second beta I was using Ken. I played.
He was actually using both. Like both betas, he got master rank on both characters.
Okay.
That's
he was grinding.
Yeah.
There was one other thing with Guile as well that I mentioned. We were just talking about like, is it smart to go into burnout earlier? There was some tech that I saw on Twitter recently where people are creating situations where they're spending all their resources in one block string to put themselves into burnout, but it forces burnout from the opponent afterward. Like Guile level 2 super is one of the reasons this exists at the moment. Of course it's Guile, but it's something like, button, boom, button, level 2, button, boom, 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 boom. I'm in burnout now, you go into burnout, mine comes back first, you're in the worst position and you're stuck in the corner. Like that strategy, forcing yourself into burnout, that actually seems quite viable. I do like those strategies.
Yeah. I mean, you're both playing the same game. You're not at a disadvantage, right? And like you said, you've got the better positioning. So I can see that being viable for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's see. We've talked about the drive rush. We've talked about we've talked about Guile. So out of the let's see, like to wrap up our beta thoughts, right? So who do you think is going to, like, based on their performance in the beta, and this goes for like every region, depending how much we'll keep it EU because that's who we know. Who do you think are going to be like the problem players? If you don't think it's too early to tell, if you in the hypothetical situation where the beta is just basically what we get in the final game, who do you think is going to be like a really scary player to look out for?
All I'll say, I don't know. Whoever was top players before, I reckon they'll be top players in this game. That's just how. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really matter. I played Problem a lot, for example. It's like, these kind of, level of players, they're just always going to be good, no matter what they do with the game. And other top UK players too, I'm sure. So, to be honest, I don't play too many international players. I played Punk, I played Chun-Li, in tournament, and I lost.
How was the connection against Punk, by the way? If you don't mind.
I played on Wi-Fi and it was completely fine. I'm not even.
You're playing on Wi-Fi, bro.
Okay.
I swear down, bro. It was completely fine. It wasn't laggy.
Bro, you made a mistake, man. This video stays online. You're never beating the Wi-Fi allegations now. Like, if I run into you on a CPT bracket, I'm gonna post this clip and send it to them.
Usually I plug it in, but whereas my roommate was using it at the time, I actually ran to get it because I realized, oh crap, it's not plugged in. But I didn't even notice the whole time I was playing, so it was like every match was completely fine. So I never really, I didn't even notice. So in the end, I thought. We got to bless that strong net code, and
very strong.
On that note, if you don't mind segueing, we can talk about, like, obviously this, because of that strong net code, we've noticed the CPT announcements is mostly online. at this point in time. So from just to clarify for those who might have seen it, there's 48 places for Capcom Cup this time. So from that, I imagine they're going to do similar to what they did last Capcom Cup, which is like each groups rather than just a simple 32-man bracket. So if I recall correctly, there's 18 slots from online premieres. There's 3 slots for offline premieres, one of which being Evo, and the other 2 will probably be one big event from one other region. And I think the rest go to World Warrior events.
Yes.
Now, what are your guys' thoughts on that? We'll start with you, Flawless Deku.
Yeah, you mean it's on like most of the CPT being online?
Yeah, mostly.
I'm a fan. I like it because I can't be bothered traveling to Texas or whatever it is to go, or like Europe, or it's a lot to travel. It's the money, So if you can do most of I think it makes it more accessible. It makes it more like open to everyone. I think that's great. Obviously, you still can travel as well if you want to go to these events, which because that was a big fun thing as well. Don't get me wrong. I used to love traveling before. Before COVID when we could, and it was always good fun. Obviously now recently, but I've been out the game for a bit. It's only like since 6 has come out, trying to come back. So I'm looking forward to competing again and going to events. But I think overall it's better for the game if more people can compete. So yeah, I like it.
What about you, Frost?
One of the things I really like about the new system, like Deku just mentioned it, is that if you want to travel and you want to compete in the CPT, like genuinely vie for a place at Capcom World Tour Finals, you got to go to America like multiple times a year, bro. You're breaking the bank to do it.
Yeah.
The online system, it isn't at the whims of where the TOs are. All of the TOs for FGC stuff are primarily in America. EU and I guess Japan has quite a few as well. But EU generally, we're kind of at the whims of how many majors we have, and there aren't too many of major size for CPT to back. With the online system, Capcom can now go, okay, America's going to get eight spots for World Warrior, Europe's going to get 8 spots for World Warrior, and so is Japan, and we're going to keep it fair. It just allows more fair game, and it allows people as well, something that I mentioned in one of the last episodes, is that younger people can compete now, right? People like Ending Walker, people like that can't travel, especially all the way across Europe to compete in offline events. Now it's an online bracket, they can get on them. Frame 1, they could go, hey, I'm just gonna enter this online bracket. It doesn't cost me anything. I can get my name out there, and if I'm godlike, then I get a place to Capcom Cup in it, and I can be the next big story. I could be the next Calmal. I could be the next Ending Walker.
No, I think I agree as well. I love offline, but at the same time, I say I love offline, but realistically, when it comes to like every CPT event, at most I've traveled to like 2 or 3 a year, and that's it. But like you notice how easy it is to fall behind when you see how many people, like the guys above you on the CPT boards, they're all their sponsored players, they're traveling everywhere, and low-key that kind of becomes a bit of like this sounds like me hating from outside the club, but it becomes a bit of a crutch, because in my opinion, like 2019, I use this example a lot. Like you've got players like Takamura who just missed out on qualifying for Capcom Cup that year, but then you had like people like Luffy. You obviously know that Luffy's one of the best players in Europe, but I think that particular season Takamura was the best player, but I don't think he was able to travel as much, and as a result, I think he didn't get to Capcom Cup. So, like, I think with the fact that there's like so many more online tournaments now, I think that's a good thing. But again, at the end of the day, I love offline. I think offline is like such an important part of like we've all ran into each other at some point on offline, like whether it be at versus fighting, and that's how people like it's like obviously it's just casual hanging out, but it's also about how people putting faces to names. It's a very important part of like the fighting game experience. Do you know what I mean? So hopefully with the World Warrior, I hope there's a healthy blend of online and offline in there, and that's all I really want. As long as that's in there, I'm totally happy with this CPT schedule.
Is there going to be still like, for example, so if CPT is predominantly online, but they're still going to have other tournaments with separate prize pools that you can still enter, and that.
Oh yeah.
The thing is, so I guess that part will never die in the FGC, which
it won't die, but it'll definitely take a hit, because I don't know if you recall, but if you like, God forbid your tournament clashed with a CPT. I remember coming into I remember coming into WSO was at one point, and there was hardly anyone there because it clashed with CPT online.
Yeah.
So like if so basically, when you do online CPT, you're basically sending a message, and it's the problem that comes with that is that this is one of the criticisms I have for Capcom for not announcing the schedule already, is that basically there's still like a bunch of local TOs everywhere, and you're trying to manage their local scenes and set up like tournaments and whatnot. But one thing they have to do is like they want to be able to plan ahead, but
but it needs a date.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to be able to avoid a CPT day so that doesn't eat into their entrance too much. So hopefully Capcom announces that at some point. You know what? Maybe we'll get blown up and they'll just answer like now. But I do think low-key, as far as how great the promotion and stuff has been going, I think it's kind of bad form that they've not announced it yet, because the game's out in a week, like a week and a bit.
It's very close.
So it's very close. But that's my thoughts on that. If you guys have any further thoughts on that, I was thinking we could probably, unless we do that. Unless you guys have any like further thoughts on that.
Well, I just had a general question for Deku. Like, are you actually planning on traveling this year for any events at all for the Sixers opening year?
If I can, I mean, I'd love to go to Evo. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I was thinking I've got some other obligations, work, etc. And obviously I have to pay for it and stuff like that. But we'll see. Like you said, most of it's online, so I'm definitely gonna be competing. That way, I'll probably try to go to some bigger tournaments offline if I can. It really just depends.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair play. I think everyone wants to go to Evo at least once in it, especially during like a big game like this.
Everyone wants to go to Evo, and like another thing like we might have forgotten about, but SFL, like I don't know
SFL?
if teams like are people going to be playing for that this season, or are they going to be like
Invitational,
it's an invitational.
Yeah, it's orgs will pick out players. They'll get captains on board and say, "Hey, can you help us select this team?" And then
like kind of like Gfinity.
Yeah, like a Gfinity kind of system. Yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah,
that
but then
works.
is it like the players have a bit more input on building the team? Although then the Gfinity was kind of like that as well.
Gfinity was like the only thing they opened up. Yeah, players got scouted by the org, and they themselves built their main lineup. Yeah, but as for their subs, they opened that up to like the.
How it worked?
That was like a public bracket, right? And you could play like a qualifier or something to.
Exactly, public brackets. Yeah, public brackets, and you just play.
I was in a few, but I think the first one it was like someone asked me like, "Oh, you want to go on the team?" And then the second time was they had the online qualifiers, and then you was like the league of 30. I think was it top 30, something like that.
I think it was top 30.
It was part of the top percentage.
I think. Must have been like 5 years ago or something.
So long ago. I think it was longer than that. It's like 8 years ago now, I think.
It was a long time ago, man.
But SFL will be interesting. I actually think it'll be quite interesting to see if like the CPT results, like let's just say like you enter a bracket, right, and you get like third place, like Flawless Deku, top 3, let's go, big tournament. If that would work in your favour towards orgs wanting to pick you up as well for SFL, like, hey, this guy just popped off at the latest CPT. We should probably try to pick him up now, innit? Like, CPT might hold a major place in who gets on and who doesn't, because this is it's a fresh landscape, right? Like, the only people that are really going to get picked up straight away, I would say, are like the captains, and everyone else. It's kind of like a blank slate in terms of the competitive history and how good you are at that game for the time.
Resume, isn't it?
Exactly.
And that speaks volumes. So I think that's what the orgs will be looking at.
Moving on to the next topic as well is something we wanted to talk about. We'll cap off on this and then we'll take a break. Was just from talking about the beta. Is there anything that you really want to see added or changed moving into release? Because we've got a week left, right? Like, what would you really like to see in vanilla that you?
Guile.
Guile. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we got that one out of the way. Get him out of the game, man. Mechanics or characters, or even like things that you think might become a problem in the meta. Is there anything that you think is like, apart from Guile, because we know Guile's busted character, any other mechanics that you'd like to see changed along the way before release?
I'm not sure about the mechanics because it's quite early to tell. That's the thing. We don't really fully know how it's gonna, things are gonna develop and how like everything's gonna be used 100%. For example, like parry right now is quite unexplored, but I reckon that in the future that's going to be, it's gonna be a big part of the meta. I feel like it's gonna, because it's an answer to everything at the end of the day. So those kind of things, as like, you know, player skill increases, then it just means that like the utility does as well, and it's gonna be, I think it will be it'll be able to be applied to a lot of things. You know, to be an answer.
So like here, let's talk questions. So like, let's say, fast forward, June 2nd, SF6 has just been installed in your device, your console or your PC. What's the first thing you guys are doing?
What's the first thing I'm doing?
Training mode, bro.
Training mode? You are lame, bro. What are you doing?
No, I'm joking. What am I doing? I guess I'm going into training mode.
Yeah, that's me, bro.
Oh, really?
I'm definitely going to training mode.
See, I'm like, I already know I play. I'm gonna mess about in arcade mode. I'm gonna jump on world.
I guess you play, yeah, but you already know. Yeah, you've been in training mode with Kimberly. But if I want to play a new character,
I've
got a tournament tomorrow. Let's play some Cammy. No one's gonna know.
I'm a nerd, innit? So like
hooliganing everyone, you know.
The first thing I want to do is just go, oh man, what are the changes from the beta, bro? What did they do to Ryu? Oh nah, this got -1 worse on block. That's crazy. Like I'm a numbers nerd.
Yeah. Well, what was I going to say? But yeah, you mentioned Cammy just there, and obviously, like you're one of the lucky, one of the lucky few. As far as Capcom, you know, as you mentioned, they invited a bunch of content creators to come to the Capcom to play the final build. So we mentioned it earlier before the podcast, but it'd be cool for you to like kind of chat how that situation came about, what the actual situation was like when you got to the Capcom offices, and you can just tell us what you were thinking going in, what you found fun, what you found interesting, etc., etc.
Yeah, for sure. I was very, very lucky. They invited me to play. So it was 90 minutes of World Tour. So I got to play that which was awesome as well. I really enjoyed that. Footage is on my channel, but it's basically just past the demo. It was like you go to Chinatown, you get to learn from Chun-Li, etc. So you get a bit more of a taste for it, and it was really, really fun. And then also I got 90 minutes in Training Ground, which was good as well. Now in Training Ground, that's obviously, you know, practice. You could do training mode and trials. We could only do Cammy trials, so that's all we could do. And we could only do Ken's and Lily's arcade mode, I guess. I didn't do, some other content creators did the arcade mode. I didn't do it, but yeah, you could go into training mode, you could play versus and stuff. So I was very, very lucky. Got to play around with Cammy quite a lot. I think she's going to be really good. She was probably of the characters I played, she was the most fun. I played her, Geef, and I played a little bit of Lily in training mode. Geef as well, it was really fun to play. I think drive rush into SPD is insane. It's so fast, man. It's like you would not expect it. It's like green hand on crack. Literally.
Oh really? Is it that bad?
I'm not looking forward to that, bro.
Green hands, but it's so much better than green hand. It's crazy because
it's like it's not even the hand that's green anymore. It's the whole body that's green.
Everything's coming in for you, bro.
Green bear running at you. But no, yeah, he was good fun. But yeah, Cammy she seems really good, man. Hooligan, I really like what they've done with that. I feel like there's going to be a lot of mix-up potential out of that. And yeah, that's.
That's really cool, and it was like, again, for those watching, I posted a link to Flawless Deku's YouTube channel. He's got a lot of good content there regarding either World Tour. If you haven't already seen it, I think when obviously everyone dropped their content at the same time, so everyone was just kind of like overwhelmed what to watch. But speaking of someone who's actually watched the videos, like there's a lot of good stuff there, and it's obviously coming from someone who's very experienced in fighting games.
Yeah.
So it's good to get a very deep dive on some of the stuff that was shown on that front.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks, man. But yeah, I was very lucky. So yeah, Cammy. I think that might be my day one training mode.
That's me the day one.
Cammy.
Just get ready.
Oh,
so I can dive kick some limbs.
We got a Cammy made in the making already, bro. I can't deal with this.
Bro, there's gonna be so many Cammy players. I think out of all the characters that were shown when their trailers were out, I don't think anyone had as much like positive reception as Cammy did, for one reason or another. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I think that's gonna be everyone's. The Cammy's gonna be everyone's baby when that game comes out.
Yeah. Well, she's always popular, isn't she? Just
always popular. Yeah.
Yeah. I think so.
I said this earlier as well. Like, if anyone's like planning on streaming, like the trick is just pick a character that was in Super Turbo. Okay, like pick Ryu, pick Ken, pick, like, that's what gets you the views. Like, that's whoever's maining those characters that can get into like Diamond or Master, they're gonna be eating good for like the majority of like season season 1.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if you guys remember Street Fighter 5. Like everyone was getting like crazy views if they were like the top of their character.
Okay. Yeah, but it's also, I guess you have more like good players also playing those characters, right? So it means
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I guess it depends. But no, that's true. I think the more if you're playing someone like, you know, I don't know, Makoto in SF4, it's like you've got a very small audience.
Yeah, it's a bit niche.
It's like the niche Makoto
I guess then
fans.
you got all of the audience because no one like actually plays them. So, but yeah.
You'd be, like back in the day, bro, you'd be scrolling down like the Street Fighter 4 like Twitch section, be like world's best Hakan. It's like 4 viewers. You're like, oh, rah, no way.
He's never coming back, is he? I hope not.
Nah,
I like Hakan. I think Hakan's sick. I'm a Hakan believer. Yeah,
I think we'll run into him in World Tour somewhere. I think World Tour was put in that place where we could like just run into old characters and shit.
Yeah,
that would
definitely.
be. I wouldn't mind that. That would be quite funny. I think
be
those
sick.
kind of cameos and stuff. That would be quite. Sick. But please don't put him.
Bro, but you already know if they pop up in World Tour, like everyone in the comments is going to be like, bring him back
exactly.
and put him as DLC, please.
But that would be the troll, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know what we want, man. Like for all we know, like there could be a new Hakan in the new roster that we don't even know about yet. Like for all we know, Marissa might be that character. Everyone just goes, "Oh my days, Marissa." You know what I mean? Marissa, Lily. Like we don't know. We could be like just again. It's too early.
Well,
Like, as excited as we are, there's probably like a demon in that cast that we're not ready for yet.
Well, there was that that Red Bull video that got released, I think yesterday or 2 days ago, and it has that small picture of all the concept art on the wall. I don't know if you've seen that one, Deku, but it's got like pictures of costumes and stuff, but it's also got pictures of characters as well that we haven't actually seen in 6 yet. Like someone that looks very, very similar to Gen, who was called like Kung Fu Master. I think one of the directors said. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a couple of characters that.
That'd be hilarious if that was his name. Like so, everyone has these like full names, and we have Kung Fu Master. Okay, no. So just being conscious that we're coming up for time. There. We'll just finish with what you're about to say, and then we'll hop on break there. So I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, it's cool. I was just gonna say I thought he was dead again, so it'd be a tough one to bring back.
He's dead, isn't he? Like Akuma finally finished him off, but like it looks like they might be like lining up a replacement for him potentially with 6 because we are missing one.
They'll just Palpatine him in it. Like somehow Gen has survived and he's still looking to die again. But yeah, so just caution that we're coming up for time. That's 45 minutes. So I think we'll have to. We'll have to hop on a wee break we'll away for about 5 minutes, and then we'll be back to discuss the rest of our topics, being the Salt Mine results or the tournament landscape as is, and the ever so juicy crack discourse.
Yes.
So we'll see you guys in a bit.
We'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Grab a drink. We'll see you soon. There you go. You guys are you're off mic now. Give me 2 seconds. Just gonna go to the toilet. Everyone's mic disappeared for a second. Camera disappeared for a
There we are.
We're back, guys, from break. I hope you all got your drinks and whatnot in while we were gone. We just wanted to quickly get into it. We wanted to talk about Salt Mine results. And I just checked over the top 8. I'm going to put some gameplay over the top while we talk about it, just so there's something you guys can look at. But over the beta weekend, there was a Salt Mine League. It had a record number of entrants, straight out to Salt Mine League. And in the top 8, from the characters that we saw, there were a couple of no-shows within the bracket. So from the top 8, we didn't see a single Guile player. There were no Chun-Lis, and there were no Kens. And I don't think there was a single Jamie. The spread was Jury, Kimberly, Ryu for the top 8, which is it's a bit mad, bro. Everyone was playing Kimberly, and the players who were playing Kimberly probably leads on to our next topic. But
So who, like, what was this? So I know, like, so I know the two juries. It was Emmy and Raikman's Barnet.
We had.
I know Valmaster was one of the Kimberleys.
I've got the spread here. We had KX Genocide on Kimberly, and we had Vidoyance on Kimberly. We had Link Exello, who was playing Luke. We had Shivs on Ryu, obviously. Soundboy was on Luke. Emmy was on Jury. Reekman was on Jury, and then Valmaster, who picked up first, was on Kimberly. That was the spread for top 8. So we had a lot of repeated characters, but predominantly Jury and Kimberly. And I think they definitely are two of the strongest characters. I just kind of want to get your thoughts on this real quick. Was like Kimberly, right, over the span of all these betas, I feel like she's a very powerful character, but I do feel like she's in that phase where it's much easier to play the offense with her than it is the defense. We're in that phase where no one really knows what to do against her on defense yet. Do you think she's going to fall off when the game comes out? Because she's the nature of the character, right? It's like once you've got to lab her a little bit, you can generally fight against her a lot easier.
Yeah, great point. I think she. Yeah, sorry. Do you want to go first?
No, you go first. You go first.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, I think she will fall off just because it's it's kind of her offense is a bit brain dead. So I think it's brain. I think it's the nature of the character, like her, Ken, for example, Jury as well to an extent. They've got like a lot of flowchart offense they can just do and get results with. You know, which obviously once people figure it out, then you can't really do that as much. I don't know. I just think it's much easier to be offensive. You know, and it's especially if people haven't seen it before or it's like their second time defending against it. Then it's it's going to hit a lot. But once people figure stuff out and get the answers, I think she probably will go down. I still think she'll be strong. I just think her neutral isn't as it's not as good as other characters.
Definitely
I think that will hurt her in the long run. But then it's like she'll be able to beat anyone. I think it's kind of like Buki in some ways. It's like Buki was really strong. Her neutral's not the best, but then it's like she could kill anyone. You know.
Yes.
And,
100%.
SF5. So I think she'll be similar. But definitely.
So that's kind of like what I thought. I think she won't. People will kind of like come round on her. She'll still be like strong. She'll still be one of the strongest characters in my opinion, depending on how strong the other characters are. Like I don't anticipate her being like, all right, we now know to block. Now she's like gone, like kind of what happened to like characters like Nasher. So I think she's gonna stay strong because she's like Mika. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where her mix is very strong. Her neutral is like just above average. It's not like amazing, but it's not bad. It's definitely better than most people. She has like some really good buttons.
Standard medium kick.
The stat medium kick carries, isn't it? But like when you look at stat medium kick is sick. But then you realize like she doesn't really have any scary. She doesn't have like a low confirm unless you're already in her face. So like. And obviously her overhead being sick that you can combo off of the block. That's really sick. But that's just her mix game at the end of the day.
My rush crouch medium is really good as well.
That's very good. Yes.
That's very good. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But when I do, I just get parried. So like obviously, I mean like I have the worst luck with that amazing button.
I think, but that is peak when that happens. Drive rush gets parried. You're like, okay, fair play.
But at the end of the day, that's the mind game, and that's kind of what. And I think Kimberly. The reason why I say Kimberly will kind of stay strong is that she just has so much in the way of offense. Because I played Kimberly in every beta, the closed beta, like both the closed betas and like the open betas, and I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I put so much time into this character, and then I ran into another Kimberly, and they'll do like offensive patterns that I've never even like thought to consider. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, there's so much with this character, man. Like,
I think she's a really creative character, man. I played her quite a lot as well in the first 2 closed betas. And yeah, she's just a lot of fun. Yeah, you can like approach it a lot of different ways. I think she can be played in a few different ways. You've got like tons of mix-ups, so it's like you got loads of variety. You know, there's a lot of ways she can get a Precious started. It's just there's things that haven't or parry at the right times, or not just knowing the mix-ups in general, like, you know, and then obviously backdash in the corner when she goes for that throw, you can turn the table, she loses a bomb, you know, now she's in the corner. So there's going to be a lot of, once people like, you know, figure out how to defend against her, I think she will go down a bit, but yeah.
No, that's good. And one thing you mentioned there is, like, you said she can play in different ways. I feel like that's one of the really important things Street Fighter 6 got right, is that everyone can kind of play their own character in their own way now. I feel like with Street Fighter 5, I think there was like, it was very binary. You either played your character the right way or the wrong way. Yeah. But this might be due. This might be due to like us still coming to grips with the game and haven't developed it fully. But it kind of goes back to what we said earlier about like how offense is a lot harder to keep track of. But I think a consequence of us not being able to shut down offense as easily means it gives more players more different routes to play their characters the way they want to play, and as a result, it's kind of everyone's got a bit more creativity and a bit more individuality with how they play their characters now, which I think ultimately is a good thing, and I'm probably looking forward to seeing a lot of that when the game comes out.
Yeah, for sure.
One of the things I want to bring up in kind of like correlation with the Kimberly picks in Salt Mine League as well, which was the second topic, was we might as well just get it out of the way with. Did you hear about the kind of like crack usage? Like it's kind of like a perilous topic to dig into, but the crack usage, Capcom put a statement out recently. We aren't accusing anyone of using the crack, right? Just as a heads up, disclaimer: we're not accusing anyone here. So don't come for our throats. But there were rumblings of certain communities kind of like grouping together to use the crack to get advantages, and Kimberly's one of those characters where if you've got a lot of set play, it starts to paint a picture. You know what I mean? It starts to paint a picture. Like, what are your thoughts like on the crack usage rate? Because like Capcom have put the statement out, but do you think players should be punished for using the crack? Right? If there's solid evidence that they were using it before that statement came out, do you think they should be punished, or do you kind of think the crack is going to be like a non-factor, like early on, like 2 weeks down, you'll be like, crack doesn't matter anymore. Things have changed. Like, what's your stance on that?
I think it should be punished, because I think, it's one thing if, you know, the average player is using it just like, I'm going to go in trainer mode or whatever. Yeah. But if you say the example you gave, communities coming together, like,
yes.
Top players playing early build of the game while no one has access to it, you know, that's where you like really can, you know, you can find out what the meta is before everyone else has, you know. You can like, you're one step ahead. I think that's very unfair, for sure.
I definitely
like you said, the set play as well, certain characters, if you've labbed them. I mean, if as well, because Kimberly is one of the characters from the beta, isn't it?
Yeah.
Playing Luke or Ryu, you know, it's like, okay, you just played the demo. But it's like, if it's like Jamie, Kimberly, you know, and you got next set play, you know,
some mad set play memes.
I'm not gonna lie. So but I think it is unfair for sure.
Definitely.
In that, just imagine, like, you know, again, not like this is an example, but just like all the top Japanese players that just playing together, like they're gonna be so much better than you know what I mean, than the people that aren't playing it. So.
I think I think like I agree. I personally don't know how I would punish. I think I would just punish. I wouldn't be as strict as to like punish them from like all CPT events. Maybe for like the first 4 months.
First few
months. Yeah.
Say for our first few months, saying okay, you can't compete because you didn't engage yourself at start. So now we need to let everyone else catch up because you're taking the best.
Yeah.
And it's like you said, it's one thing for folk to kind of just hop on the crack and because like we saw a lot of that of people uploading combos ages after the beta ended, saying, "Oh, look at this combo with Guile," and we're like,
like, where'd you get this from? Bro, I just stocked a lot of footage in it. I just recorded so much during the weekend. It was mad.
I think people coming together and intensively grinding at the games to figure out like how the competitive side of things will go. That definitely is problematic, and I think
Very
that's
problematic.
that's one of the things that will like can damage competitive integrity. But at the same time, I do think it's just going to be one of those accepted bad things, kind of like how like a lot of like combat sport people just use like steroids and shit. It's like I mean, I think that's probably how they justify it to themselves. They're like, well, if I don't do it, someone else is going to do it, and then they're going to win that milli. So like, I ain't gonna miss out on it. So I think that's probably how like what they're looking at, which is a shame, really. But I mean, as long as there's no real way to, because obviously Capcom made like when they announced the blue screen saying like from this point on,
from this point onward,
So now like now everyone's like probably a bit more like low key with it, but they're probably still doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, there's no way to prove it.
There's no way to prove it, unless someone were to provide evidence to the case.
unless it's like a whistleblower.
Yeah, exactly, like a whistleblower.
No, if it's blatant and they've got like uploaded footage, see it's the crack, then or it's like on their PC or something, then 100%. But it's like that's gonna be, in a lot of other cases, gonna be very hard to prove. So people would get away with it, and people would get an advantage. So
overall, like obviously, my hope is just that the crack usage, again for the people that have used it as a community to level up together, to, figure out metas, figure out what's strong, how to play the game, get used to mechanics. I just really hope that doesn't damage the game in that early term, right? That was those first 3 months where everyone's figuring the game out. I hope it doesn't feel like everyone's already ahead by 6 months, because those are some of the most fun months of the game you will ever get in it. It's super fun to play the game at that point in time.
I do think people will catch up. I think
people will catch up.
And then one thing is as well is like with the meta stuff, it's like if you see someone do it, now it's like you've thought about
you've learned it, innit?
Yeah. It's like so it's like maybe they they're one step ahead and they set the trend, but then people will catch up to that quite quickly and start doing off of it, and then they'll probably be onto the net. You know what I mean? So it's like
it's like a teacher-student thing, isn't it? Like the teacher can get the student up to their level a lot faster because they're just kind of relaying information, and then you can bounce off of that, and you'll go on from there.
Gone are the days of people hiding tech and like sandbagging. You can't get away with that these days, isn't it?
All out there.
No, not social media these days, but that's kind of the thoughts on the crack. Like, hopefully it doesn't affect the game, and hopefully we have a sick release. I think the new characters are going to add a really big injection of kind of like chaos into the mix as well, right? Because at best you can only be ready for like 40% of the entire game, and you still have to prep against 12 characters altogether, I think. When the game drops, so there's definitely gonna be uneven footing, because I can pick Marissa and probably smoke a Jamie,
exactly.
Something like that. So hopefully it doesn't affect it too much.
Good point. So that's it. Just pick up a new character.
Pick a new character at the open week.
Hey, look, you're angry about these cracks, but you better learn that Kami, bro. Like that's what you got to do.
But I mean, after that, honestly, we didn't have many more topics to cover, because obviously it's the week leading up to 6, so we're kind of dry on stuff for the moment until the game drops. So I'll probably cap us off there for the episode, and then obviously when the game releases, we'll come back unless Sully has anything else to add on to this one.
No, not at all. I just and I'm happy to go into our closing thoughts, but I think we covered a bit. And again, a week today, like we'll in fact a week tomorrow. We'll all be just having a good time, just like waiting for Street Fighter 6 to come out. So we're nothing else to chat.
Closing thoughts off you, Deku. Like, what are you doing over the next week to wait for 6 in it? Like, how are you spending your time just to kind of on the lead up? You know what I mean?
Well, actually, I'm gonna be in Germany.
Oh, you're in Germany? No,
get in.
Yeah, I'm going with my girlfriend, so I'm gonna be there for a week, and I'm coming back literally the 1st.
Day.
So
this is
fly back.
Babe, I appreciate that week with you in it, but you need to give me my time now. Like, I'm gonna be away for a little bit. I'm sorry.
Man, I'm looking forward to it, and looking to do a lot of content when the game comes out, some like guides and stuff, and just obviously playing. Rank's gonna be good fun. Looking forward to learning characters and stuff like that. So it's gonna be a blast. But leading up to it, I'm just gonna be relaxing, I think. So get ready.
No, I feel that.
We Sully posted your YouTube link in the chat earlier, so anyone in the chat, make sure to go and sub to Deku's YouTube channel, and underneath his name right there, you can see his Twitter handle at Flawless Deku. Make sure to drop him a follow as well. I hope you have a great week in Germany, and then when you get back, I'll try and meet you on ranked. You know what I mean? I'll try and meet you on ranked.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Looking forward to it. Can't wait.
But yeah, until next time, guys, I'm going to sign us off for now. I hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you when Street Fighter 6 is out, and we'll catch you next time.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Let's go.
In a bit, everyone.
In a bit.